Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Pigbar25 here, and today I am doing a long-awaited Wicked Cyclone review. Now, I said I'd be doing this Wicked Cyclone review for a while now, to be honest, but I kept pushing it back in like news and the bonanza that I wanted to get started, all that fun stuff. I just wanted to, I just kept pushing this thing back, and I know it's going to be very popular because this ride is great. I don't want to take any longer just apologizing and wallowing for all this delay on this one video. I mean, reviews are back, and I probably will space this out, or space a review slash countdown or news with the Bonanza, probably like a 50-50 ratio until the series is over. But yeah, this is my Wicked Cyclone review. Let's get started. The drop. It's not that big, less than 100 feet tall. And yes, there's a typo. I kind of type these things very quickly and then just leave them alone for the recording, and then I learn from my mistakes. Less than 100 feet tall, though, because this thing was from a small Cyclone coaster made by Dinn. It's one of the very classic coasters of the park, other than Thunderbolt. It's a pretty steep drop, though. You can feel yourself crest the rather quick lift hill and over the first drop. Just dive down. It's an enjoyable drop at that. Very enjoyable drop. It might be small, but small drops could still be good. Definitely also kind of whip over it as well. You can kind of whip over the drop. It's a fair ranking. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it could be a 6, but I don't know. I think it's 7 because it definitely is fun. I don't really remember the drop of this one because honestly, I more paid attention to certain other elements I'll get to later. Intensity. Now, this thing, we're going to start building up to more of the better parts of the ride, but this thing has elements back to back to back to back. There is no breaks. Even on traditional cyclones where there's the turnaround, you're still going around an overbank turn at a very fast pace. I mean, and you're going to be barraged with airtime hills, overbank turns, bank turns, and inversions. They just keep coming at you. However, starting about the second inversion, the G-forces and the ride starts getting a bit sluggish. And the third inversion, after the third inversion, you sure get a bit of hang time on that, but you're kind of going at a snail's pace for a coaster. This thing definitely loses its speed for like the back quarter of the ride. I mean, it's a very wild ride up front, but towards the back it becomes a bit sluggish. It's almost like you're going maybe 30 miles per hour or something of the original 55, 60 miles per hour. But yeah, that's basically that's what's going to jock down the intensity. If it was like consistent speed the whole way through, I probably would have given it like an 8 or maybe probably an 8. Maybe, but I think 7 is pretty well deserved here. I mean, even on the slow section, you're going to see some more airtime hills. And I'll cover those a little later. Speaking a little later, that little later is now. The airtime on this thing is absolutely fantastic. It is everywhere. Ejector airtime hill is everywhere. Every turn, every straight section, you're going to get a pop of airtime. Third inversion, first inversion, there's hang time to be seen as well. And there's a double down right after a bank turn from the first inversion, and you will go flying out of that. I mean, that's probably one of the few double downs you'll see in an RMC, but it is just fantastic. The double down is great. Even on the sluggish ending, you'll still get a pop of airtime in those intentional hills. It's everywhere. There is like a dozen plus moments of airtime on this ride, and it's just everywhere. You can really feel it as well, unlike other classic wooden coasters where there's airtime at every straight section, every turn. But you can't really feel it. You don't really pop out of your seat that much. No, you feel this, and it's everywhere. It is probably one of the biggest airtime festivals I've ever had in a coaster. It is great. Definitely the best airtime in the park. Duration. Well, the ride from the top of the lift hill to brakes is approximately 55 seconds. You can probably, from my measurements, also being a bit lenient, you can probably jot down a few seconds of that. It's an average ride time, 55 seconds of pure fun. This is my message. Every second on the ride from going around the circuit is worth it. You can ride this thing again and again. 45-minute wait could be totally worth it to ride a 1-minute ride, basically. It's just worth it. It is totally worth it. Although the duration is average, maybe slightly above average. My average for coasters is probably about 50 to 52 seconds or something. And then everything under that's like a 4 or under, like possibly all the way down to like a 2 for like dragster. And then the durations like the Beast or Mean Streak get like a 10 because they're like over 100 seconds of ride time. Just every second on this thing is worth it. I mean, the duration is rather appropriate here as well. I think an original Cyclone would last longer because, you know, the bank turns are a bit slower. You're still trying to work your way around. But just here, the duration is so appropriate. And I love how they took the layout of the original Cyclone and they did everything and anything possible with it. The original layout is so well mimicked by this new one. There's some coasters where you really do not think that they use the layout properly. I mean, like some coasters, but there are other coasters like this where they use every inch of the original layout in some creative way or expression. I love how they did that. And I'll give that a 6, an above average duration just because of that. And you won't see 6s on duration very often. Smoothness. This thing is really smooth. I'm going to say that up front. It was refurbished in 2015, or opened in 2015 as its refurbished Wicked Cyclone itself, and it's only 2 years old, or will only be 2 years old by the end of the season. It may have a little rattle, could be a tad uncomfortable with the transitions, but this thing is really smooth other than those small, niggly little things. The ride is really smooth. Like, dare I say, butter smooth. It's really smooth. This is smoother than Goliath. I'll say that. It is a smoother one. It is a smoother coaster than Goliath. I'll give it that. Maybe because it's not as tall, it's not as intense, or maybe, well, yeah, probably not as intense or something, or just the bank turns, they aren't really that overbanked. But still, this thing is smoother than Goliath, especially in the transitions. The transitions here are glossy most of the time. 9.5 out of 10 of the smoothness, because in order for it to be a 10, it must be perfectly smooth. Restraints. The ride features the traditional lap bar trains for RMCs with inverted stalls. If you look closely, it is a lap bar with knee braces. An orange, the autocorrect here drive me crazy. Lapser, 1 braces. Come on! Moving on. Unlike Goliath, where the knee braces can be a tad uncomfortable in certain elements, the braces here really do not matter. Well, not that they don't matter in a sense that they are not necessary. You do not acknowledge their presence at all during the ride. They're not knocking at your knees for the entire ride. They're definitely there. The ejector airtime does not hurt as well because the lap bar is quite padded as well. Because you think, because if you had like other lap bars, like maybe a Magnum lap bar, the airtime will probably hurt a lot. But here, the airtime just is not painful at all. You definitely come out of your seat and it's so enjoyable. The restraints here, I'll give a 9 out of 10 because I'm actually doing a new thing with the restraint. Because sometimes the restraints do not match the ride. Usually, I originally graded just what the restraints are, but now I'll start grading on how well the restraints go with the coaster. Like if a coaster has unnecessary shoulder harnesses or some certain element of the lap bar really gets in the way of things, then I'll start chalking down points for that, which means some lap bars that are the exact same, like some PTC train lap bars, can be worse than others because they just get in the way, unlike others. So yeah, just a little update there. Theming. This theme is a massive hurricane, quote-unquote, Category 6, which is not yet to be seen on Earth, is hitting the coast of New England. The wallpaper of the station is false newspapers from, I think, maybe, I don't know, but I talked to my second cousin about the newspapers there. He said some of them don't exist. There's bent signs, radio towers or radar towers, debris. There's theming in the queue, on the ride, and in the ride, as you can see the radar tower there. I mean, the ride is pretty well themed for RMC, which RMC does not really do that well with theming, usually. Most RMCs are not themed too well. Sure, the trains aren't well as themed as, say, like Iron Rattler, where the train is literally a snake. But, I mean, the theming here outside the ride is nice. I will say it has definitely an identifiable theme. Might be a bit obvious with a name, but it's pretty identifiable. I'm going to give it on par with X-Flight. It's like the X-Flight of theming for New England, and I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 for theming. And then finally, our last category is the inversions. Wicked Cyclone features 3 inversions: a inverted stall or an inverted stall, and 2 0G rolls, or is it corkscrews or something? I don't think they're I think they might be corkscrews actually, or barrel rolls. The inverted stall is fast-paced and fun because you're coming out of like the first turnaround or second. I think the first turnaround you're gonna go past some airtime hills and right into that thing. The second 0G roll has some decent airtime for how slow the rides become, and the first 0G roll is fun. The second 0G roll, the third inversion, decent hang time, especially with the slow pace that the ride comes to. And I love how similar the inversions are placed across the ride's layout as well. Right where the train usually crosses over with itself, because I think this Cyclone did crossovers. You're definitely gonna see, like where the original Cyclone crossed over or something, you're gonna have an inversion, and it's like they're literally stacked on top of each other as well. So it's great. Maybe they're not stacked on top of each other. I don't really have a perspective of it because I'm just there to ride, not study, unless it's studying for these reviews. But I just love how similar the inversions are to like crossovers and stuff. That could be a completely false statement, but I mean, that's my observation. If it's false, don't hate me for it. I just love the inversions, and I'm making a possibly false observation. Scores. My total score for this ride is 62.5 out of 80, which is the total score of all 8 categories combined. The average score is 7.8125, which I think is, if I remember correctly, that's more than 4/5. Is that like 11/16 or something? No, 13/16 maybe. It could be 13/16 or 7/8 or something. I think it's 7/8 maybe. No, I don't know. I gotta convert to a fraction. And my score, which is what really matters, is a 9.5 out of 10. This ride is phenomenal. I would highly recommend riding this ride if you love RMC or just roller coasters in general. And if you have a soft spot for the Cyclone layout at like me, this is definitely a treat. I mean, this thing, Six Flags New England's a must visit if you're local. Like 4 hours away, you can make a one-day trip. I mean, I flew the equivalent of a 1,000-mile drive. I think it was 955 miles from my house to Six Flags New England. And then I went out all the way to Boston because I flew there because I was hanging out with my second cousin. So basically, like over 1,000 miles to get to the thing. Granted, I did have family there, so there was more than one motive. If I flew the equivalent of 1,000 miles, you probably should too. And this ride is worth it. This was my favorite ride in the park, I'll tell you upright. And Six Flags New England is a pretty solid park with a solid lineup, with the exception of like Gotham City Gauntlet and Mind Eraser. I covered both of those in my countdown bonanzas in part 2 and 1 respectively. I explained why. And speaking of which, the next video will most likely be part 3 of my bonanza, which will feature numbers 90 through 81. We're gonna see some coasters I don't mind, but then some coasters I just don't like as well. We're gonna start leaving the bad and start going more into mediocre at that point. So yeah, that has been my Wicked Cyclone review. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And I know September has just started up. We're already a week into September. Yeah, that was my chair. I was leaning for the whole thing. I was slouching, like, really bad. But I really hope you're enjoying your September. I'm trying to go to Great America this weekend, but I think it's closed because my Great America's been closed right now for decorating the Park Fright Fest, which starts up September 24th. Mean Street gets the axe in 8 days, which we might get an announcement of what's becoming. And also, just a bunch of other news. Maybe I'll do an announcement if they announce something with Mean Streak at the marching parade of its deceasedness or whatever. But yeah, that has been my Wicked Cyclone review. Just a little reminder of the scores here. 9.5 out of 10. Phenomenal ride. And with all that, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. And as always, peace.